It's pretty astonishing just the depths of the hypnosis and the spell iPad Go 2 has cast on people. Now, you may not know this, but this is actually incredibly strange what is taking place. Just think about it for a minute. You have a number of people, an entire community, spending years on a cartoon that came out in 2012 in order to attempt to decipher an undecipherable code. It's either undecipherable or it's so obvious that it's in your face. But it seems like the obvious things that are in your face are blinded, are leave so many people blind to the big elephant in the room. And there's some large YouTubers talking about this that I'm in the process of finally unsubscribing to. This one guy in particular, I can't stand this large YouTuber who has all these dates set for the beginning of May, completely ignoring the blood moon eclipse on May 26th. Now, considering that the big elephant in the room, how it couldn't possibly be more obvious that these events must take place during a full moon and during an eclipse, since that is portrayed not once, not twice, not even probably a dozen times, probably more than a dozen times. You have elements of a full moon and an eclipse. So it cannot possibly be any other time frame. And yet, there's some kind of a hypnosis taking place. And this hypnosis, they claim that it is Jesus showing them, right? Jesus is guiding them. You got to be careful with people who say Jesus is guiding them. There's all kinds of stuff Jesus told people that never came and will never come. And this fantasy people have about him floating out of the sky and rapturing people up, I would be really careful with that idea because look at it this way. If you see that in the sky in real life someday, chances are very good that that's not Jesus, and it probably won't be. So, you got to question who really is under the strong delusion here. Is it these people that they're judging, those who are not awake and those who don't understand anything, and there's some kind of noble sorcerer, noble magician, they're going to have it right. They're going to get it right. They're going to get the glory of God and the kingdom. They're going to have the right date. This other guy, I don't do it. My iPad Go 2 videos are for practicality. I don't do it because I want to seek glory for having the right date. I just want to know the general time frame so that I could at least be mentally and spiritually prepared. That's what I was seeking, but nonetheless, that cartoon still had it and still to some degree has its hooks in me. And that's what it does. That's the demonic evil power behind this stuff. And then they're going to tell you that it's Jesus talking through them. Jesus isn't going to make you obsess over a demonic cartoon made many years ago trying to decipher some kind of sorcery codes for years on end and going nowhere. Okay? Now, this Gematria stuff is sorcery. I made a video a few weeks back about 973 at namu-973.com, where it clearly lists the number to letter correspondences and their connection to magic and sorcery. That's what this is all about. Gematria is magic and sorcery. And for Christians to focus so much time on that, frankly, is troubling to me. And I don't think it's right. There's no, it's not glorious. Okay, look, people have this Hollywood fantasy about how things are supposed to play out, whether it's Jesus floating in the sky, whether it's this epic asteroid. It's not going to be epic when it actually happens. You'll never see it coming. It'll happen so fast, it'll catch you off guard. And when it does, none of those dates you supposedly figured out are going to matter in the least bit. And on top of that, there's nothing glamorous if that were to happen. You're going to have people, majority of them, survive the initial impact, depending on the size of the asteroid. And then a substantial population is going to choke to death on ash. And then after that, they're going to starve and die slowly. So there's nothing marvelous or glorious or glamorous about any of it. Okay? It's just astonishing to me. There is a at least be practical. There's no if they're going to try to continue to set these dates, then at least have some practicality. There is a blood moon eclipse. We haven't had a blood moon eclipse. The last time we had one was in January 2019. That's quite a while ago. We have one coming up May 26th, and we have a half blood moon coming up November 18th. And I'm more inclined to believe it's more likely the one in November. Even if it isn't, and it probably isn't because it's probably not even this year. Majority of these dates that have been set over the years have not been during eclipses or during full moons. The majority of them. The one brilliant man, Theology Ed, he's actually a good researcher in this. He actually puts in the effort to really try to decode it. Most of these other people, I'm unsubscribing. I'm done. And I know you guys don't even watch most of them, but I needed to vent this out. I needed to vent this today because these hooks of hypnosis have been in me for years. And it's funny that in 2012, people saw the cartoon once, twice, and it was ignored. It was forgotten for years, I guarantee you. And then all of a sudden, for some unexplained reason, some mystical reason, it was brought up again. Because that hypnosis had a time sensor. It was probably a combination of AI and things of that nature that triggered a subconscious group of populations into focusing on their sorcery. And the more you focus on their sorcery, the easier it is for them to have it come true. And that's why this is so bothersome to me too. Because this is wrong. We should be focusing on the good. We should be focusing on the light. We can expose darkness, but we can get so deep into the darkness that we forget the light. And that's so detrimental to your soul. That's all.